Nightmare Tripping, the fifth studio album from Don Broco, is their most ambitious and epic and heaviest effort yet. We're going to break it all down on this edition of Rock Album Review. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Nick here with you. Welcome back to the channel. And for this episode, I'm joined by Danielle Lee. How you doing, Danielle?
Good. A little bit tired. How are you?
Doing all right. Also feeling a little bit tired after a long day at work. But you know what? We had to dedicate ourselves to Don Broco, to talking about their fifth studio album, Nightmare Tripping, which just came out today. We wanted to talk about this while it was still fresh in our ears. We both managed to kind of listen to it during our work days, which was always a way you got to balance things before doing these rock album reviews. But it's a fun album to listen to while you're working, I guess.
For sure, yeah. This was one I was actually really looking forward to doing. I made time for it during work. I've been wanting to do this review for a really long time because we've been waiting for this album for so long. And it was definitely worth listening to the album a couple times, like during the workday. Yeah,
for sure. Good way to get through a Friday afternoon. And if you missed it last week here on the channel, Danielle also joined me for another video where we ranked our top 10 favorite Don Broco tracks ahead of the new album coming out this weekend. So if you want to check that out, it's on the channel now. I'll link that up for you here. But Danielle, before we kind of talk about the album and everything involved with Nightmare Tripping, which is an awesome album, by the way. We'll put it out there right now. It's an amazing record.
Slaps.
As Don Broco fans, we both really enjoyed it. But the thing about Nightmare Tripping that is not unfamiliar to Don Broco, because they did the same thing on Technology and Amazing Things. We heard a good chunk of this record before it even came out. So last year in 2025, back in summer 2025, and throughout the year, we heard Cellophane, Hype Man, Disappear, Euphoria, and then we also heard Nightmare Tripping, the title track with Nickelback that came out a couple of weeks ago. So it's a marketing tactic that bands do in the streaming era, right? Release as many singles as possible and promote the album as much as you can before it comes out. But how do you feel in general about the fact that even before we heard the whole record, we pretty much heard about half of the record before it actually even came out?
I didn't even realize that was a thing that was happening. Like, they had so many singles coming out before the actual album came out. I've never really paid attention to something like that happening before, but I was definitely into it. Every single time it released a single, I wanted another one.
Yeah.
And
it was addictive.
It was addictive, and it didn't make me look any less forward to hearing the rest of the album. It made me want to hear the rest of it sooner, in fact. And we were kind of talking about this previously, like, what's the point in releasing like all the singles ahead of the album when you're just going to release the album when with all the songs together? You brought up that excellent point about the streaming that I never even thought about. That streaming is rewarded. And I just thought that was such a great point to make, especially this day and age. Instead of waiting for an entire album to come out and hearing one or two singles, it made sense for them to release multiple singles ahead of the actual album. So, if anything, I think, the tactic worked on me. I looked even more forward to the album the more singles they put out.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. Well, it was a nice build-up. I felt like there was a little bit of a gap there. After Euphoria came out in late 2025, there's a little bit of a gap between that and Nightmare Tripping.
Yeah, there was.
But the thing is, and this is the same thing that happened with me when Technology came out, because so many singles, I think there was at least 4 or 5 singles released before the actual album came out, and that it kind of takes a little bit to think of it as an album and not so much as like the songs we heard before and the songs that we heard today. So it takes a little bit. It was a fresh experience, but I feel like with all the songs that we've heard before mixed in with the track list, that it's going to take a little bit to think of it as a cohesive album instead of a bunch of singles that we've heard previously.
Yeah, and the beauty of this is that, with this album, actually, the songs that we haven't heard, they kind of tied the entire album together in terms of when we heard the singles first and then heard the rest of the album, it made you understand why they released those singles, and then when you heard the album, it tied in all together very nicely. It just brought it all together real nice, hearing them all together, and just the order that the tracks were in too tied the whole thing together, and it made so much sense.
Yeah, it has a cohesion to it. So let's get to our general thoughts about Nightmare Tripping, the new 5th studio album from Don Broco. So what are your general feelings about this record? We already kind of spoiled it that we love it. It's a great record. But how would you sum up your feelings about Nightmare Tripping?
You know what? I think the most part was that it was super, super relatable. It was a departure kind of from their previous feels on their other albums. Like when they first came out, it was kind of more about being young, relationship stuff, the him versus her, infidelity, and then they kind of moved towards the more political stuff, and not necessarily political, but more like state of society and
Right.
kind of the shitty things going on in the world. On a more surface level, not so much a personal level. And we saw that with technology and amazing things. And we saw kind of like the relationship stuff, the him versus her, like this and that on Priorities and Automatic. But now I feel like they've shifted more towards telling a story about inner demons, personal struggle, and trying to navigate those issues in a very difficult universal climate that is the world today. And then trying to navigate all of that within a very difficult world, and then finding enlightenment within that struggle.
Yeah.
Of trying to figure out if you can handle this life with all the stuff that's going on in between. So I really liked it. It was a really real album. And it was
very emotional.
Very emotional. And it was really nice to see them, kind of, how do I try to say this here? Just like, come to fruition with their heavy side. This is a very heavy album in sound and noise, and I'm here for it. I loved it, and I loved this album more than the lighter stuff. I felt like they were telling a story
Right.
Through this album from beginning to the end.
Nice. Yeah, well, I agree with that. I feel like it was a very cohesive album, even though we've heard a bunch of it before. But I'm with you. I think this is I said it in the intro that it's their most epic and ambitious. It's their most heaviest. I feel like they're a very forward-thinking band, Don Broco. They're a rock band, but they're incorporating so many different elements. There's electronic elements, there's heavy elements. They're a very produced band too. Like, this is not the type of material that you just get in a rehearsal room and you just bang out on a couple guitars and drums. This is a very produced album, very well put together record.
Yep.
They always go above and beyond in the production department. And like you said, a very emotional album as well, right? Like they have tackled more societal issues on songs like Manchester Super Reds, social media, like Uber, technology of the song, also about social media, songs like that. And with this one, it does feel more personal. And you clocked it back when we heard Cellophane all the way back last summer. Like, you clocked that, this feels very personal. It feels like these guys have gone through that shit or some shit over the last little while. And like, as we read interviews with Rob, the lead singer of Don Broco, we kind of discovered that you were pretty bang on about that and about the emotional side of things. And I just feel like, as people, we all go through struggles. There's always things in our lives that we have to overcome. And this album kind of reflects the ups and downs. And even Rob said in an interview, he's like, yeah, there's ups and downs, but sometimes there's just downs and more downs. And there's just a lot of things in life that you have to overcome. And so I definitely enjoyed that personal side, but also, like you were saying, the heaviness on this album. This is by far Don Broco's heaviest record yet. Priorities is a rock record, but they definitely went softer and more poppy on Automatic, even though that did have a heavy edge to it. But then starting with Technology into Amazing Things, they really leaned into what we talk about being like the real side of Don Broco, that they want to make songs that are bangers, that are really energetic songs that they can play live, that people are really going to respond to, and they just turn that up. I feel like this is Don Broco at their most unhinged. Like, the riffs on this album are heavy. Shout out to Simon Delaney, the lead guitarist of Don Broco, and the other members too, like Tom Doyle and Rob Damiani, and Damiani, the lead singer, Matt Donnelly on drums. So yeah, like, what do you feel like with the heaviness on this album? Like, songs like Cellophane, Hype Man, True Believers, which I think is the heaviest song that they've ever done. Like, is that something that you really like, that they leaned into that more on this record?
Oh yes, I love that heaviness. I adore it. I adore it the most out of everything they've put out. I'm here, like I said, I'm here for the heaviness. I really, I think it's their best shit.
Yeah.
I think it's better than the lighter shit. And, you know, again, like you just kind of look at their progression through the years and you really feel like they are their true selves on this album. They're paying homage to who they really are. They're not the clean cut, you know, like really, or maybe Tom is.
Yeah, very clean cut.
But like in general, they're not, you know, the package. You know, let's make them look like pretty boys. Let's make them sing about.
We're turtlenecks.
Yeah, we're turtlenecks. Yeah,
like
that
in
was
the Nerve video.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with turtlenecks. I love a good turtleneck.
There's nothing wrong with a turtleneck.
Yes.
Nothing wrong.
I love a good turtleneck. But they are more owning the fact that they are themselves. They're not taking anybody's shit. And kind of to go back to what you were saying about Rob's interview, talking about the album and, you know, dealing with the fact that there are more downs in life than there's ups. One thing I kind of wanted to acknowledge is he also mentioned that, you know, acknowledging the downs and that it's okay not to be hopeful.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, you know, it's like this fake hopefulness that you try to put on as a facade to try to make you think that you're going to get through it just because you think that the right thing to do is to try to find the hope in it. Mm-hmm. Right. So,
but sometimes it's just okay to just wallow in despair.
Yeah, wallow in despair. But somehow, like this album draws on that and is able to like you're able to detect like the beauty of some enlightenment within accepting that.
Right.
That it's not all good all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay not to have hope and just accept that the shittiness is what it is.
Yeah. For sure.
So, yes, with that being said, the heaviness, yes, this is my favorite stuff by them so far, for sure. And I really hope they keep leaning into this heavy stuff, the reality of kind of like what they're feeling. And it's really so cool just to hear like how poppy they were before. And now like this heavy shit where it's just like in your face. I love it.
Yeah, and it seems like the fan base too, the Don Broco fans out there, we keep just going with the band on this musical journey that they keep bringing us on over these last few records and really just riding the wave. And you can really see that even more than Amazing Things, that this album has gotten a really positive fan response. For sure. And people are really, really into it and are enjoying Don Broco really going into that heavy side. And like for me, like, you know, I wasn't always a huge fan of heavier music, you know, especially like metalcore or those kinds of things, but definitely yes, you've been into that stuff forever. You've always been much more angsty than me. But something, you know, like I feel like in my 30s and my 40s, I've just like gotten way more into the angsty stuff. And that's like just resonates even more with me now than when I was like a teenager in my 20s. Yeah. It feels good to like be emo, right? So, and this album definitely, I feel like Don Broco, they lean into that, right? Yeah. They lean into, especially like late 90s, early 2000s, like new metal. We were saying, again, another thing that you clocked last year, be like, I feel like this sounds like Korn or something.
Cellophane was like definitely very Korn. Even the music video with like the little bullet, like going through that like one part of the song, like the bullet, like I was like, that's Korn right there.
Freak on a Leash.
Very Freak on a Leash, yeah. And like the breakdown and just, oh yeah. I love it. And they allude to those influences too, which is like really cool. And it feels like they're bringing you with them on this musical journey that they are owning now. That is how they are different. Right. It's like, they're like, come along. Yeah. See what we're doing.
Yeah. And they embrace the, Rob was saying in an interview that System of a Down is his favorite band of all time. You can hear the System in this record. You can hear Korn, you can hear Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park. And that's cool because, and Deftones as well. Yeah. A lot of Deftones in there. Yeah. And that's cool because they embrace those influences. Some of them are, I would say, cooler than others. You know, Nickelback is a guest on this record on the title track.
That was just the way that worked out was insane.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I actually like them a lot more than I did previously.
Yeah, we were sitting. We went for a drive last weekend. We were listening to some Don Broco, and then we parked for a little bit. We were hanging out,
and I was like, "Put on some Nickelback."
Yeah, we were listening in the car. We were like literally like non-ironically rocking out to Nickelback songs in the car together. So
some good shit.
No, well, that's the thing, and I feel like they get a bad rap because remember I was saying, well, just like, we're not going to turn this into a Nickelback thing, but with Nickelback, it's like they kind of jumped the shark a little bit when Photograph came out and people started really knocking them, and then some silly lyrics along the way.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of really sick riffs.
They do. Some of the earlier stuff rips.
Yeah, it does rip.
Like, oh my gosh, like we were like cranking that, and I was just like stank facing it.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh yeah, this is good. Like, I've never really had a problem with Nickelback, to be honest. Like, I've never understood that hate train. But again, not to make this about
rap.
Yeah, not again to make this about Nickelback, but I like them.
Yeah.
I've never disliked them. Yeah, Photograph kind of sucked, but like that doesn't take away from any of the other great songs that they have. And I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, and Nightmare Tripping is not the kind of song that you would think that would have a band like Nickelback on it, but somehow they made it work. And I love Chad's vocals on the chorus of Nightmare Tripping. And,
he sounds great.
We have our joke of being like scorpions, right? Because we're like literally like neither of us liked. We said this in our top 10 tracks that neither of us really liked Nightmare Tripping when we first heard it.
No, I was not a fan of it. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, but
I was so confused when I first heard it.
And we both sing it all the time now. We're always in the house and we'd be like scorpions. Buried alive.
I've had enough.
Yeah, it's just it's a great track.
Yeah, it is. It's so good.
Unexpected collaboration.
Oh, it worked out so nicely though. It was like the unexpected collaboration that was just ended up being amazing.
Yeah, and Sam Carter of Architects, who I'm not super familiar with Architects, but him and Rob spitting hot fire on True Believers.
Yeah, I had a Don Broco mix on Spotify one day, and a couple architects
Artichokes.
It's been a long day. A couple Architect songs came on, and I could have sworn I like you might have been in the car and when I had that on. I was like, I have no idea who these people are, but it sounds cool, and it was on the Don Broco mix. And they released. It was interesting that they released a single the night before the album came out.
Right.
I was like, whoa, that's like interesting. Yeah. But that song, True Believers, fucking slaps.
Yeah.
Like, when I first heard that song last night, I was like, holy shit. Like, this is amazing. It's really so good. Heavy.
It's their heaviest song, I think, for sure.
You think it's heavier than Cellophane?
Yes, because there's way more screaming.
Oh, there's way more screaming. You're right.
95% of the song is screaming.
You're right. Yeah. It's just, oh my God, guys. It's so good.
Yeah, really good.
It's so good. Like, True Believers, now I'm just like, is it Cellophane or True Believers? That's my favorite song.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But, like, I mean, Cellophane, like, it's a really tough choice.
Yeah.
Like, Cellophane is 1, and then maybe like True Believers is like 1.5.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, it's a great song. I think it has to grow on me a little bit more, maybe than some of the other songs on the record.
It's all over me. It's
you're all
spreading.
Over it.
Yeah,
it's just like a good disease.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, it's so good.
Yeah, it is a good track, and
the thrash,
and this album is very heavy. And I was also wanted to kind of point out, we talk about Rob and Sam from Architects singing together, but I think even more so on this record than past Don Broco records, the interplay between Rob and Matt on vocals.
Yes, I had that. Yeah, I had that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like,
so excited.
Yeah, no, there's just like it's a hallmark of the Don Broco sound, and the way that they play off each other. A lot of times Rob will take the verse and Matt will take the high chorus. Songs like Hype Man, which is was my favorite song of 2025 was Hype Man was number one. Cellophane, same with that, and some of these other songs like Swimming Pools, Somersaults, some of these newer songs that we were just kind of getting familiar with right now. I love that aspect of the Don Broco sound, and it's just it's what makes them one of the things that makes them so unique.
I absolutely agree. There's a lot of bands out there that do that. We see that in Alexis on Fire with the screaming and then like the melody singing. We see that in a lot of bands, and I actually made it in my notes here. Like the songs were beautifully written. They're heavy, but then the ones that aren't so heavy are still kind of heavy, but it like there's a beauty in it. And I do have here that Matt's vocals are always lending to that balance. And Don Broco are a band that just does that so well with having two vocalists. It doesn't always sound good, necessarily with maybe some other bands, but yeah, Don Broco are one of the best.
Yeah,
that do it with the two vocalists.
Yeah, the co-vocals are.
Yeah.
And Matt has a traditional kind of, not traditional, but a very like emo, like 2000s emo kind of voice, and Rob has that deep growl, and then he screams on this record way more than. It was funny when we were watching the clip on the Sunday brunch show on that show in the UK where they're playing Nightmare Tripping on like a morning show
on
for
Mother's
Day, and like he's just shredding his voice.
Yeah.
I didn't, he's done a lot of screaming on previous record, not a lot of screaming, but he's gotten pretty heavy. He's got a good grit on his voice, but on this record he's just shredding it. Like he's ripping those vocals.
Oh yeah, we've never heard him scream and growl like this at all before on previous albums or any previous singles for that matter, that necessarily weren't on albums. This album he really screams a lot, and he's got a good scream. Like he's got a quality, and it's amazing because like the last song what's it called again?
The Corner. He's
like full on like opera singing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, who is this?
Right. Yeah.
And it was just he's got an incredible vocal range for sure.
And I felt like his vocal was a little bit like raw, like there was something maybe on that song, the last one, The Corner, that his vocals maybe weren't as produced or processed as much.
Yeah,
it
I thought
a little more raw.
Yeah, it felt a little bit more like less processed, and like it was just he like kind of tapped into a different like sound.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it came out of somewhere else. Like he has his melodic voice, but that one sounded a lot different.
Yeah.
Than what he typically does. And just like it's just an incredible vocalist.
Yeah. For sure, he's a great vocalist, a very great front man. We've seen Don Broco a bunch of times, and every single time he does a great job. And we shouted out Rob and Matt. We should also shout out Simon and Tom on guitar and bass. Euphoria, which features
Tom's song.
that bass face, just like you just.
Yeah.
Tom's just like he's got that bass face going. The bass on that song is out of sight.
That song should be called Tomphoria.
Tomphoria.
Because that song is all about Tom.
Like he's just
all about
ripping
Tom on the bass. Yeah, like that's all you hear. And the rest of the song is great, but it should be called Tomphoria because that bass line rips.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think we were talking about, like where did they come up with the idea to do that?
Yeah.
They had a really good producer you were sharing with me that he's done their other albums.
Yeah, Dan Lancaster, yeah.
Yeah, he just somehow figured it out for them.
Yeah.
Because you see clips on social media of the suggestions that he's making during like their recording and what they should do, and you can tell that he's a mastermind.
Yeah.
And he knows exactly what he's doing, and he figured it out for them again.
Yeah. No, yeah, he's a great producer. He's worked with a lot of other great bands, especially in the UK. Yeah, and then again, like Simon on guitar on this album, again, just bringing the goods and some really great heavy tones. If you're a hard rock fan, a metal fan, there's really a lot to enjoy on this record. Yeah. And actually, it's funny because I was thinking about, we were just talking about that last song, The Corner. I feel with this album, Nightmare Tripping, I feel overall that it's better than Amazing Things.
Yes.
Because there's a couple of songs on Amazing Things that you and I just, even as big of Don Broco fans as we are, we did not really enjoy them. Songs like Swimwear Season, Easter Sunday. Just, I don't know what it was about those songs in particular that really kind of brought down the album for me. I felt like there was a couple of songs on there that were just weaker, whereas overall this one is much stronger.
Yes, I agree with you. All the songs were strong on this album in comparison to Amazing Things, in my opinion. Amazing Things was a great album, but some of those songs just seemed like filler songs, and I have it in my notes here that it didn't really seem like there were really any filler songs on this album. They were all seemed like they belonged on the album. It wasn't like, oh, we're just gonna do this one to fill some time and space.
Yeah.
No, like it was intentional. It was deliberate. All those songs.
Yeah.
Our dog is scratching. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Lily's scratching around. Whenever she sees us doing something, she's always
whenever she hears us, she's like, "Why aren't you guys paying attention to me?"
Yeah, pay attention to the puppy dog.
Yeah.
We'll see. We might have to bring it on camera like we did for the last
second
video.
Appearance. Oh,
yeah. So anyway, this is they're from, I think, front to back, this is a stronger record than Amazing Things, even though I really like Amazing Things as an album. But overall, I really think this is a much better album. But yeah, so let's just kind of bring it to our final thoughts or our favorite tracks on this record, Nightmare Tripping. Danielle, what are your favorite tracks on Nightmare Tripping?
Cellophane.
Cellophane.
Cellophane, you know, it's hard to say because once again, all the songs sounded like they belonged on there and they were great. Yeah. But I'll have to say Cellophane, Hype Man, True Believers.
Yep.
And you know what? I actually really like Somersaults.
Yeah.
Somersaults.
That's a really good song. Somersaults on the front lawn in the summer. I love that lyric.
Yeah, and I was reading that's a great call out on that lyric, and I was reading like that interview with Rob that went song by song, and I think that song was kind of paying. Sorry, I'm having trouble formulating my thoughts.
It's kind of
here.
like about like when you're younger.
Yeah, when you're younger, you have no worries, less worries.
Yeah, like your somersaults on the front lawn in the summer. It's just like, I think we can all relate to like that feeling of when you're a kid and you're just
doing cartwheel.
Yeah, you're just doing some shit on the front lawn.
Yeah.
In the summertime, you have not
a
worry in the world. Yeah. Yeah, somersaults. So
exactly.
yeah, like what was the other one?
Nightmare Tripping. Sorry.
Nightmare Tripping. Yeah, which it was. We put that on our top 10 favorite tracks. Don Broco tracks of all time. So that's a big one. But yeah, like what like there's also Pacify Me was good.
Pacify, yeah. Like what I liked was I noticed that Euphoria and Pacify, so it was Euphoria and then Pacify, and kind of the placement of those songs being side by side, and then a little bit just shortly after kind of the middle of the album kind of really signified again to me that whole idea of taking us through this journey of them telling us a story on the album. Like, okay, you know what? Starting with Cellophane, it's in your face. You know, it's kind of like the introduction to like, all right, I'm being faced with this shit now. Like, I need to figure out if I have the wherewithal to deal with what's happening in my life. And then you kind of get brought along this like journey where like when you get to Euphoria and Pacify, that it's the acceptance that's kind of starting. You're trying to find the ability to find healing and peace within all the struggling. And that's the enlightenment piece that I was talking about, right? So I really thought it was smart how they put Euphoria and Pacify next to each other.
Yeah.
And that is a great song.
Yeah.
Hell, all the songs are good.
All the songs are good. Swimming Pools is good. I feel like you know, we're so familiar with the other songs that we've heard on the record, the first 4 or 5 singles that we heard from the record. We're so familiar with them that we have to kind of catch up with the other ones, and the other ones have to become just as ingrained in our brains as the other ones.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though? Like
Disappear too. We got to show Disappear is a great song too.
It's very interesting because it's almost like hearing the rest of the album was putting the puzzle pieces together. To bring the whole album together as a story. Like the songs that we didn't hear, the ones that weren't released, were the missing puzzle pieces. Yeah. And then they again brought the whole album together and made it cohesive. So when you heard the other songs, it made the singles make sense. Right. In the whole scheme of how the album was arranged.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's nice to hear it finally come all together after hearing so many of the songs ahead of time. So yeah, Nightmare Tripping. I feel like this is. I don't know if it tops Technology for me when it comes to my favorite Don Broco albums.
It's
but it's up there. I feel like it's a good one.
Definitely very adjacent.
Yeah.
In terms of topping. Technology. Technology is just legendary on its own, but I think now with Nightmare Tripping, it's a new type of legend that they've introduced. So I honestly actually can't say whether I like Technology more or Nightmare Tripping. I think Technology is a little bit more straightforward in terms of the sound, whereas there's a lot more experimentation on Nightmare Tripping. Yeah, but that's what makes it so fucking cool.
Yeah,
they just went right out of their box.
Yeah, they keep trying to do new things, you know, and
which I love.
And every album feels like they're expanding on new things. They're not, there are certain songs on here that would remind you of past Don Broco songs. I think it was Somersaults that reminded me a little bit of Bruce Willis from Amazing Things. There's, it was a Ghost in the Dark. Reminded me a little bit of One True Prince, but I felt like it was a better version of One True Prince. I like the melody a lot better on Ghost in the Dark. I just think it's there's they're very forward thinking.
Yeah.
They sound like a modern band in 2026. I think they deserve a bigger audience. I know they're very big in the UK, but when they come over here, they're still playing relatively small venues. I think their collaboration with Nickelback has kind of introduced some more people to Don Broco in the mainstream rock world. And they deserve it because they're a really great band.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
they write great songs.
Totally underrated.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. It makes sense that, they're underrated because there's a lot of bands out here that are trying to do that thing.
Yeah. A lot of heavy bands, a lot of rock bands,
a lot of heavy bands,
a lot of bands in that space. But I find that they're very even more so than some of their peers. I feel like Don Broco is just like a much better band, and I feel they deserve more attention.
Yeah, in terms of quality too, you can tell the quality is really there with them, and it's interesting because it's very it's not atypical to watch a rock band kind of go through time and maybe start producing music that their fans aren't as fond of.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it. There's a lot of bands like, say, Incubus, for example. I don't want to listen to their now stuff. I only want to listen to their before stuff. With Don Broco, I want to listen to their now stuff more than their before stuff.
Right, they keep getting better.
They keep getting better, yeah. And it's not to say that bands like Incubus, just because I don't want to listen to the new stuff, it doesn't mean that they're getting worse. It's just that I want more.
Right.
I want more from Don Broco, whereas some other bands, I'm just like, okay, I see what you're doing, but I just don't want more. I appreciate what you're doing, but it's always been I want more with Don Broco. Right. And I just think it's really cool, just kind of another comment about the Nightmare Tripping album is that, for me, I don't know if it's because of the aesthetic with the music videos, the majority of them being in black and white, they're largely performative. There's no kind of this acting or they've really stepped away from the goofy videos,
there's no Beckhams running around.
Yeah, the comedy aspect, they've really kind of come away from it. They're performative now. It's really dark. The album gives this aura, this dream state or trance kind of aura, which I just thought was really cool. And I'm into that shit too. So I'm into the dark,
the mystical,
the dark,
the dream realm.
Yeah, the dream world, the crystal ball, and I just was kind of getting that aura. Yeah. And I just thought it was so cool. Not a lot of bands are doing that organically.
Yeah.
And you just know that nobody was telling them to do this shit. This was all them.
Yeah.
But, and I remember in that article that we read that Rob was in previous albums, we didn't really have a plan going into how to record or what to record, but he said they had a specific MO for this one. And it seems exactly everything we've been talking about, that whole reality of life thing.
Yeah, no, it's a great record. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. We enjoyed Nightmare Tripping very, very much. So Danielle, 10 out of 10. Well, rock album review, we do 5 out of 5. So if you were going to give it out of 5,
6
out of 5 for Danielle. I'm going to give it. Yeah, I feel like I'm so biased. I'll be 5, just 5, but I'll give it a 4.5 because. Okay, well,
I no judgment.
4.5.
Am I over?
No, I don't think so.
I just loved it.
But I feel like I have to temper my enthusiasm a little bit. I don't know why.
Okay, I'll be the excited one for us.
Yes, Danielle will be the excited one.
The real critic is right here.
Yes, come on. I've done many rock album reviews, and I refuse to hand out 5 out of 5s.
He is Siskel and Ebert.
Yes, together.
And I am just Tim Heidecker.
Okay.
From Cinema on Cinema.
Yeah, okay, well, there we go.
My opinion doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, of course it does. That's why we had him on here. Have you on here because we know that you love Don Broco just as much as I do. So that is our rock album review for the new album from Don Broco, Nightmare Tripping. Now it's your turn. Hop into the comments below. Let us know what you thought of the new album from Don Broco. Make sure to toss us a thumbs up and a like. We'd very much appreciate that. Make sure to smash the subscribe button because, Danielle, I don't know if you know this, getting close to 3,000 subscribers here on the channel. I do know. It's been a little bit of it's been a climb. It's been a lot. I'm trying to get there.
So close.
Yeah. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, get us to 3,000 subscribers, and then we'll just keep making videos.
And then we'll eat something on camera.
Yeah, like we'll turn this into a mukbang channel. Everything's changing around here, guys. Once we get to 3,000 subscribers, completely different channel.
Yep.
I'm just gonna be chowing down, and me and Danielle are just gonna eat food for a living. That might actually get us more views.
I think so.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with that.
You know what? It's good to freshen things up. Maybe we could eat food. Well, we could eat food while we review albums.
Yes, and be like chew really loud.
Yes.
Make it really gross and real train wreck like.
Yeah. Well, can look forward to that. Thank you very much for watching this rock album review, guys. We'll see you again for another review here on the channel. Until then,
rock the fuck on and listen to this album, like seriously.